how within a minute and a half, Bill Gates was vanquished. In under a minute and a half, Magnus Carlsen was able to defeat Bill Gates. You've heard of Bill Gates, right? He is a brilliant billionaire, not a playboy philanthropist. Tony Stark is another example of a meme involving a genius billionaire. You read that correctly, didn't you? If your ranking is 400 or above, it indicates that you are a winner at every game. And Bill Gates has a ranking of 1200, which is better than 3/4 of the chess players in the world. Magnus Carlsen, the genius grandmaster prodigy player, is the best player in the world when it comes to chess. Ika, the god of chess, is also a very good chess player. Magnus, who is now ranked first in the world with a rating of a huge 2800, 125 wins and 0 defeats, accepted the challenge from other chess players to compete against them. Let's find out what happens when real-life Tony Stark faces off against the chess god after sitting together for class. Gates makes his initial move with e4, which is a pretty typical opening. Let me remind you that Magnus started the match with only 30 seconds remaining on his clock while Bill had a full 2 minutes. Magnus plays a modified version of the Scandinavian defensive, which easily cuts out Bill Gates' first move. Let me also remind you that Bill had 2 complete minutes. Bill makes his next move, which is to move his knight to the f3 square in an attempt to defend against this move. Instantaneously, Magnus brings his knight over to the c6 location. The board had developed into a reflection of the Magnus's action at this point. The defense of the ninja. I'm curious about the ninjoic's defense. The moves that make up the ninja defense are those that are used in the chess opening. It's named after Aaron Ninjowicz, a famous chess player and writer who advocates for flexible positional play. The main idea behind the Ninjowicz defense is to avoid the standard responses to e4, such as e5 or c5, which lead to well-known and heavily analyzed openings like the Ruy Lopez or the Sicilian defense. By playing c6, Black aims to surprise White and steer the game into the uncharted territory where White may not feel as comfortable after e4. c6 White has various choices, but the most popular one are d4 White, which wants to occupy the center with pawns and create threats against the Black Knight, and d5 Black, which challenges the White center and aims to trade pieces. White has several alternatives, but the most common one is d4 White, which aims to generate threats against Black Knights. Pawns in the middle f3. White develops a knight and prepares to castle on the king's side. Black can play e5 to transpose into a Vienna game or a 4 knights game, or d6 to prepare to control the center with pawns and pieces. White plays the king's gambit, sacrificing a piece in exchange for the opportunity to open lines and launch an attack. The king of the Black has the option of either accepting the gambit with 2x4 or declining it with either d5 or e5. White develops a knight on move c3 and gets ready to control the center of the board with pawns. Black has the option of playing e5, which changes the game into either a Vienna or a 4 knights variation, or d6, which gets him ready to control the center with pawns and pieces. Overall, the Ninjowicz defense is a versatile and undervalued opening that may lead to fascinating and unusual games. However, to play it successfully, one must have a solid understanding of the positional concepts and the willing to play unconventional tactics. Bill might feel a little good for a moment having the same pieces in the exact mirror position as the god of chess, but he forgets that he is a god at chess. Looking at how their poses are during the game, it's evident enough that Magnus is much more confident and looking forward to his next move, unlike Gates, who is trying to keep a poker face during the game. Gates takes a couple of seconds to decide his next move, then moves his bishop to the d3 position. I can't help but wonder whether he was thinking about the English opening, but first things first. What exactly is the English opening? It's named after the English chess player who popularized it in the late 19th century. However, here's the backstory. The main idea behind the English opening is to control the center of the board with a pawn on c4 while also preparing to develop the pieces quickly. This opening can lead to a wide variety of position and is known for its flexibility and positional naturalness. In this particular scenario, Bill decided not to play the English opening. Both players are on an equal level in terms of power at this stage of the match. It was then that the Gates made his first mistake by moving his pawn to the d5, capturing the black pawn on d5, and now giving Carlsen a trade. At first glance, Gates may be in the lead because he proceeded to take down the black pawn. However, what this led to was Carlsen being able this time, by transferring one of his other knights to position c3 and making a threat to seize Carlsen's queen. Carlsen advances his queen to the h5 position while Gates is pondering the possibility that he has caused a world-class champion to move his queen. Just take a look at the dogged resolve and self-assured grin that's plastered across Carlsen's face. The clock has only been ticking for 7 seconds so far in the Carlsen's game. Carlsen is already working through the checkmate process in his head. He had 23 seconds left, while Gates, who started with 2 minutes but only has 37 seconds left, is currently giving serious consideration to each of his potential next actions. Gates has decided that the king's side should castle, but he must first determine what castling is. Castling your king to safety is considered to be a very safe move because it makes your king away from the spotlight to a safe position at the sides. However, in this case, it's clear from the speed of the Magnus Carlsen's moves that he has already predicted all the possible moves that could occur. Carrying on, Carlsen transfers his bishop to the position g4, and as you might expect, this is the first move towards the finish of the game. In response, Gates transfers his pawn to position h3, where that threatens to move the Carlsen's bishop from the board. Gates is still as puzzled as he was during the first move, and he is wondering what Carlsen has in mind at this particular moment. Magnus moves his knight to the e5 square, proposing to give up his bishop in exchange for the pawn, and makes a face as if he just made a terrible mistake while doing so, even though this was all just part of his endgame strategy. Gates falls for the bait and recognizes it as the opportune moment to sacrifice another one of his pieces and exchanging a pawn for a knight. Carlsen responds by capturing the knight. At this point, Carlsen has 21 seconds remaining on his clock, while Gates has 1 minute and 15 seconds. And it becomes evident that Carlsen is making swift moves towards victory, having spent only 9 seconds on his previous move. Carlsen now has 21 seconds left on his clock, while Gates has 1 minute and 15 seconds. Bill Gates moves his knight to f5, capturing Magnus's knight, which seemed to be positioned without a clear purpose. However, in capturing the knight, Gates falls for the bait once again, realizing that he has no other viable moves. Gates waits for a moment of amusement, and Carlsen joins him in laughter. They both shake hands after an expected outcome. Checkmate, I would say. I think we often forget how much people have worked hard to reach the top, and there is a reason why they stand at that position until they compete against someone who is pretty basic at their craft. It's mind-blowing and astonishing what champions like Magnus Carlsen bring to the table. Always fills everyone up with an experience and so much joy. I think it also helps for the person on the other side if taken in a positive way to motivate themselves. Did you like it? Tell us what you think of the video in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting videos.